Good afternoon. My name is Rudy, and today we're going to discuss how we at Sharetrack can select the stock picks. Now, first of all, before we even go to the charting and stuff, what I do is I go to what we normally do. I work through the share filter and the additional advisor. So both of these, share filter and additional advisor, and filter out whatever there is for the day. Okay, so by using, for instance, on the share filter, I would go and filter out via the example on the share filter, and then go put all of those into a notepad. And then the same with the additional advisors, I'd add something like the long and the stochastic, and then also the long and the RSI, and then also take that list of shares, put it into a notepad, and then from there, after I've got all my codes, I go to the charts, directly to the charts, and on the left hand side, you'll see that there's a little watch list. So on this watch list, you'll see that I've got a new list here. So you can go and you can create a new list. So there by my list, just click on the plus icon and then give your list a name and enter your code. So for instance, you'll add your codes one by one. So it's a code, space, code, space, code, and so on. All right. So between every code, you put a space, and then when you save it, you get a list like this. Okay, so I would sit with a list, for instance, like with 50 different shares. I wouldn't suggest really using this watch list on the side of the chart if you clear your browsing history or you clear your cache and your cookies relatively on a daily basis or a monthly basis. I wouldn't suggest using the watch list there, but I use it just to go through the stock picks. Okay, so after I've got my list, then I go through each and every one of them individually and go and analyze each and every one of them. Okay, so we've got INL here currently, and this one was sent out on the 10th. Okay, so the reasons this one was sent out on the 10th is, first of all, we had on this 5-day moving average, we had a breakthrough. Okay, so that was my first indication that there was a breakthrough. Okay, then the second thing is we had a buying indication down here, and remember this is mainly, this stock pick was mainly selected for a CFD. Now, for instance, shares like ABG and RNI were selected more for a long-term investment. Okay, so first of all, for the CFD trade, I selected this one because of the 5-day crossing over. We had a buying indication up here and a buying indication down here. Okay, so we had two buying indications, RSI and stochastic, with the buying indication on the 5-day crossing over through the green candle. Okay, indicating that the share might go up. And then I go and look at conversions and diversions. So if you've watched any of my previous videos, you would know how conversions and diversions work. Okay, so first of all, what I do is I go to my select tool, so up here where it says select tool, and I change it to line. You can give it any color that you'd like, but I like to select the line tool. Okay, and then from there, first of all, what I do is I get myself a trend line on the main graph here. So from the top point where it started to fall up until where I've got like 3 bounce points, 1, 2, 3 bounce points, and that's my trend line. Okay, so I want the share to basically break through that trend line like what it did over there. Okay, so it broke through the trend line, and then also on the RSI and the stochastic, I pull in the same line. So it's like from the point when it fell, so from that point, take a line to that point over there. That's my diverging line, and that would be the breakout. Okay, so you'll see that when the RSI, the black line, crossed over right over there, you'd see it's more or less the same time when your 5-day moving average crossed over. So that's another indication. So I've got 2 indications already on the RSI. One, I've got a buying indication with a red line and a breakthrough on my trend line. And then same thing with the stochastic. I'll take it from when the share started to fall, right over there, pull it through to that point, and there was the breakthrough. Okay, so I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 indications that this share might go up. Okay, and which it did. Okay, if we go and look at our trader dashboard underneath the new CFD account, we'll see that INL since the 10th grew by 461 Rand. And if we look at INP, Okay, that's Investec Limited, that's Investec PLC. Investec PLC grew by 100 Rand more than what INL did. Okay, so 532. Okay, so that one and that one, you'll see that the chart looks more or less the same. So on this one, we can do the same. Take the line from when it fell, pull it down. There's the 5-day crossover. There's the buying indication down here on the stochastic, or sorry, on the RSI, and on the stochastic down here. So both of them had a buying indication. Then I'd take the line from when it fell, from there, pull it through. There's the breakthrough right over there. When the 5-day crossed over, I'd take this line from there, pull it down. It basically broke through the exact same time as when you had a crossover on the stochastic. Okay, so once again, you'd 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 indications telling you that the share might start going up, and that's what it did. Okay, so that's for short term. That's purely for a CFD trade if you want to quick get in. If you're looking at getting in longer term, then you're going to have to look at a converging trend as well. You'd need to look for an upward trend on the RSI and an upward trend on the stochastic. Okay, so if I go a little bit back into the past on INP, I'm going to work with this section here. Okay, so this share started to grow for the long term in this period. Okay, so what I would look then for on a long-term investment is a little bit more than what I would look at a CFD. So first of all, do I have a buying indication? Yes, I've got a buying indication right there. Do I then have a higher buying indication directly after that? Yes, I do. A higher buying indication directly after that, which means I've got a converting trend between the 2 points. Okay, so there's my conversions, higher buying indications. Okay, then also I'd look at my 10-day, 5-day, and 20-day moving average. Is there crossovers on all 3 of them, which we had? Okay, right over there. Okay, and then also I'd pull in an extra line like over there. Okay, so that would be my diverting line all the way up until that point, and there was a breakthrough obviously over there. Okay, so that was the breakthrough through the stop line. So it broke out of the cone, and then also I can take line from there to there. So there's my cone formation. There's another breakthrough the exact same time when it gave me a buying indication. Okay, so I had a few more buying indications telling me that the share can go up. And then another thing is, if I take a line from here, since it fell over here, draw it all the way to there. Okay, there's a breakthrough right over there. We had a breakthrough on the RSI and the stochastic. Okay, so that indicated that the share might go up even further, and then there was the overall upward trend. Okay, it just changed over time into that trend over there. Okay, so it just kept on growing from that point where all of the lines crossed over with the 5, the 10, and the 20. I had upwards direct, I had a converting buy there, had a converting buy there with breakthroughs that would have been selected as a long-term stock pick instead of a short-term stock pick. Okay, so now these those of you that aren't part of the Telegram group, I would go and suggest that you go and register for Telegram. So download the app onto your phone, register with your telephone number, and then just send me an email so that I can add you onto the Telegram group. Because obviously what we're doing there now is we are sending out these types of notifications on the group. Okay, so if there are shares that's giving us these formations, right, breaking through either on the CFD or on an equity, we would send that out on the Telegram group. Okay, if we're looking at, for instance, RNI, so RNI was a little bit more longer term selection. Okay, so what we just saw on INP, if we had to look at the historical data, but the share is currently doing exactly that. We had a buying indication with a higher buying indication with the upward trend, buying indication with a higher buying indication. Come on, this line isn't working with me now. And then a converting trend. Okay, so we had a higher buy indication. Then I take my line from the top, draw it down. There's a breakthrough there. Take my line from the top, put it there. There's a breakthrough there as well. Okay, and then obviously I've got my overall trend. That's my overall trend, and then I had this downward trend over here. So from the stop point up until there, there was my breakout with that 5-day moving average. Okay, so this was more of a longer term investment selection instead of a short-term CV trade. Okay, it did break through in a downward trend now currently. Okay, but with the stochastic, it can go all the way down to this line and just turn around again. Okay, or what it can do is this line can just basically go down if it turns around here, because it looks like it wants to turn around, and then we'll just continue in that trend. All right, so that's it. Seems simple, but if you don't, or it seems hard, but if you don't go and practice it, I mean, it is going to continue being hard. Okay, but it's actually simple, because you just take the line tool and draw in your trend lines. Okay, so it's simple trend lines that you pull in for it. Another thing that we look at for a long-term investment. Okay, if you go and look at Mox's indication, Moshimagama's indications, she works with potential upside, potential downside, and obviously breakthroughs in a bullish or a bearish trend. So another indication that would look at, for instance, if I have to pull in a line right here, that would be my resistance line. So the share went up, resisted, went up, broke through a little bit, but now it looks like it's resisting again. If it breaks through this line, it means that the share can grow even more. Okay, if we have to go and look at INL, for instance, as a good example, there's a resistance line right here. It's resisting there. It still needs to break through. So this share is almost a long-term investment. If I have to take the same indications which I just took on RNI, this share might turn into a long-term now instead of staying a short-term. So you've got a buying indication, higher buying indication right there. Okay, and that's an upwards direction. We've got a buying indication with another buying indication there. That's an upwards direction. Okay, then I take my line from here up until there. There's a small breakthrough. Take my line from there. That's a more or less there, because I can't really put it there, or I can put it there if I really wanted to, but then I'll have to wait for that breakthrough. That breakthrough there means that if it breaks through this top line, it would have broken through this top line over here, this resistance line. Okay, then it would continue on as a long-term investment instead of just a short-term trade. Okay, so for the short-term trades, for the CFDs, we're looking at little bursts. Okay, so when a share goes in an upward direction all of a sudden within 2 weeks. Okay, so it would be a 2-week duration which you would keep the share and then sell out. Okay, because with a CFD, it's going to be a week to 2 weeks which you would hold on to that CFD. Okay, but yeah, that's the basis of it. That's how we go and select our CFD indications, and also we go and look at the longevity of the share. How long has the share been growing? Is it maybe in an oversold position? Is the share really close to a previous resistance, which is this line here, for instance, close to a resistance, keeps on resisting. So for instance, for this share to really continue growing over a longer period, it would need to break through that line. But up until this point, it would stay either a short-term investment or a short-term trade as a CFD. Okay, but as I said, you don't really want to go longer than, let's say, 2 weeks on a CFD trade. Okay, but if you do have any questions on the selection, or you're confused about the selection on the CFDs, I mean, you can always query it. We're obviously starting with a new model, which we would also start posting. For those that are already part of the group, you would see that we already posted one on Friday. There's a new model that we posted now, has like a little small Excel spreadsheet with a few shares that tells you which shares are potential long-term and potential short-term shares. So we're starting with that new model now as well. Okay, to track the movement and see if those shares has the same potential as the current method that we're using. Okay, so not only using one method, there's different methods that we're starting to use. Okay, if you do have any questions on the selection, you can always contact us on our at our head office. All right, that would just put you through to the technical departments, or you can just phone any one of the support numbers, and then we can answer your questions there as well. Okay. All right, but if you have any, as I said, if you have any questions, just let us know, and then we'll we'll answer your questions for you. Okay, so I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend further, and then we'll see you with the next webinar.